Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. This is not going to be a lengthy or long speech or so forth. I just wanted to, brothers and sisters, touch upon the matter. If we look at what is being currently spoken on in regards with reparations, in regards with 1619 to 2019 and 400 years and so forth and so on. As been pointed out on this channel, our ancestors were brought over here in captivity prior to 1619. And the people that were brought in 1619 to Jamestown, Virginia, was under the Dutch man of war bringing captives from Brazil to the British or the English in Virginia. But yet, when you get into the history of it, you know good and well that our people was already enslaved in what's called the United States of today prior to that. Dates going back as far as 1526 and so forth and so on. So, brothers and sisters, we want to be very circumspect and careful when we start to throw out dates and this is going to happen then, and this is the mark for this timing and so forth and so on. We want to be careful, brothers and sisters, when we begin to sit there and set judgment when it comes down to certain things, such as saying this is going to be just as this and just as that. This is now currently the month of August 2019. I remember in April of 2019 speaking upon this subject as well. And in getting into that particular case, we have to ask ourselves how much prophecies have been fulfilled from the era of April until this current date, August 31st, 2019. Because there are certain things that were supposed to happen and to happen before our deliverance from this captivity, from this exile. One of the things we want to point out is this. And what I'm going to be reading from is the Standard Bible. It's not the Tanakh or the Masoretic text. In the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 4, we read, "Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments." So when we look at that right there, brothers and sisters, it says, "Remember ye the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, which he commanded him for Israel." Now let's go into part of those laws that's being spoken of, because many already acknowledge Malachi as the or a last prophet. So let's go, if you will, to Deuteronomy chapter 11. Let's go to Deuteronomy 11, verse 19, and it reads as follows. "And you shall teach them your children, speaking of them, when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up." This is talking about the commandments, about you teaching them to your children. Now, with that being the case, with you teaching the commandments to your children, that means you have to be in your children's lives. That means that you have to be there for your children. Let's go, if you will, for another part in the law of Moses. That Malachi says, "Remember ye the law of Moses my servant." Let's go, if you will, to Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 7, so we can see what this says. "If there be among you a poor man of one of your brethren within any of thy gates, in thy land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth." So, in Deuteronomy 15, verse 7 and 8, we see about charity, if you want to use that terminology for it. We see about the aspect of giving to your brother that's in need. Now, brothers and sisters, the reason why I wanted to go over those two different things in the law of Moses in regards to being there for your children and teaching them and helping out those of your people that need help is because while we are talking about reparations, even as Israelites, you find Israelites who don't want to help Israelites. You find Israelites who don't want to be there for their children. How can we as a people talk about us being the son of the Most High and what is due unto us when we, if we understand Psalms chapter 82, I said you are gods and know ye sons of the Most High. If it says that we are gods and all of us are the sons of the Most High and we're in the image of the Most High, and we're saying we're the children of the Most High, but we expect the Father, the Most High, to be there for us and to do for us, but we don't want to do for ourselves. We don't want to sit there and help ourselves, help our brothers, help our sisters, help and be there for our children. But we sit there and make a stance to go and talk about reparations from the Europeans. Brothers and sisters, the reason why the Europeans socially had to go and get us out of Africa is because they can't work the land here in America nor in Europe. And that's why the Irish came over here in the 1840s, because the land in Ireland wasn't working for them. The land over here in the West wasn't working for the Europeans, so they had to sit there and go way yonder to Africa and bring us over here in order to work the land. Because you have to remember, not trying to be funny, about certain marks that were left upon certain people.